If you're lucky enough to have unwrapped a brand new Xbox Series X or S over the holidays, you'll be itching to get playing as quickly as humanly possible. In the past, you'd have to endure the agonizing wait for each game to download, and the only good thing about that was it gave you time to look up gift return policies. But not anymore. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members can use the cloud to start streaming a huge selection of titles straight onto their console. Just take a scroll through the Xbox Game Pass library, select any game with the cloud icon next to it, and hit play to jump straight in. So here are a few we'd recommend tucking into just after this video ends.
Few games are better suited for the cloud's easy access than the multi-award-winning Hades. Its fluid combat and eclectic array of weapons make each new fight through the pits of Tartarus feel totally fresh. So Hades is perfect for squeezing in a quick run whenever you've got a spare minute. Knowing that you've always got it to hand, even when it's not on your hard drive, feels like a true blessing from Mount Olympus. And if you find yourself getting a little bored at the dinner table or ousted from the big TV by your family, it's also the perfect game to fire up on your mobile device for a burst of hack-and-slash action. But there's also so much more to Hades than the quick thrills of its combat. Its messy family saga is filled with memorable characters, hilarious writing, and top-notch voice acting, while everything from the stunning art design of its Greek underworld to its exquisite soundtrack ensure that being damned to the fire of Hades has never been so much fun.
It's as true today as it was 20 years ago. There's no better way to spark a new Xbox console into life than with a brand new Halo game. With Halo Infinite, those in search of a blockbusting solo campaign can charge down onto the vibrant open world of the Zeta Halo ring and continue Master Chief's quest to save humanity. And for those who would prefer a little bit of player versus player action, the series' iconic multiplayer modes are all present and correct, complete with a ton of new features and techniques for you to master. Spend 5 minutes playing with a grapple shot and we guarantee you'll be, well, hooked. Infinite is also the perfect way to show off your new console's hardware once you've got the game fully installed. With 4K resolutions and frame rates hitting the fabled 120 FPS on Series X, and if it gets you feeling all nostalgic, you can dive back into the Game Pass library to check out the rest of the Master Chief Collection too.
If you're in the mood for some light-hearted holiday fun, definitely don't look to A Plague Tale: Innocence. But if you could do with something a little darker to cut through all that festive cheer, this sinister, stealthy adventure might be just the game for you. Playing as a young girl named Amicia, you'll have to endure the hardships of life in 14th century France, including the dreaded plague and the hordes of scurrying rats that spread it. Lovely. Oh, and you're also being constantly hunted by soldiers because the king thinks your little brother has magic blood. So there's that too. To survive, you'll need to move quietly, stay out of sight, and find cunning ways to use pieces of the environment to your advantage. Pieces like the aforementioned rat hordes, for example. Since A Plague Tale: Innocence has now been optimized, you can enjoy every step along this dark and dreary adventure in smooth 60 FPS. Use the cloud to dive straight in and you'll be all set for when the sequel, Requiem, arrives day one on Xbox Game Pass later in 2022.
Between the cloud's no download necessary gaming, the ability to switch rapidly between titles with quick resume, and the incredibly swift load times you'll find in Series X and S games, the new Xbox consoles really are built for speed, and no game shows off that horsepower better than Forza Horizon 5. From the moment you put your foot down, you'll be tearing through a humongous open world filled with cragged mountain ranges, verdant jungles, sizzling deserts, and thriving urban centers. There are hundreds of different events to compete in, cars to unlock, and places to explore, with nuggets of Mexican culture stashed away in every corner, ranging from ancient temples to modern-day street art. And the best part is that Forza Horizon 5 gives you the freedom to explore it all however you like. So if you're looking for that open road experience while you're huddled up inside this winter, here's your answer.
Trading out Hades' Greek mythology for the Norse variety, Hellblade revolves around another young warrior with a complicated family history. Senua is haunted by a darkness that whispers sour nothings in her ear wherever she goes, which is especially off-putting when you're on a trip to the afterlife to rescue the soul of your dead boyfriend. What Senua calls a curse we would now understand as a form of psychosis, and its effects are powerfully conveyed by the game's atmospheric visuals and unsettling sound design, making for an adventure game that's both massively entertaining and incredibly poignant. Which is why we are so eagerly awaiting the follow-up, which is set to hit Xbox Game Pass day and date sometime next year. Naturally, we'll have regular updates on Hellblade 2 and all the other major Xbox titles coming your way, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell before you go. If you like to inaugurate your new console by playing an entire game start to finish, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is a great choice, clocking in at around the 7-hour mark. Use the cloud to hop straight into it as soon as you've plugged your new box in, and you might even be done by dinner.
On the surface, the candy-coloured weirdo world of Psychonauts 2 might not seem like it has a whole lot in common with Senua's solemn quest, but it's another game that's deeply concerned with the stuff going on inside our heads and how we deal with it. Just like in the original, which is also available on Xbox Game Pass if you fancy checking it out, some 16 years later, Psychonauts 2 sees Raz using his psychic powers to slip inside the mind of other characters. Not only does this give Double Fine the chance to cook up some of the wildest levels you've ever seen, from the toothy inner world of an aspiring dentist to a germ-filled metropolis that's also kind of a bowling alley, but it gives Raz the chance to help each character repair the broken parts of themselves, from doing battle with their doubts and regrets to packing away their emotional baggage. Each Psychonauts 2 level is like a little therapy session, except here you get to create fireballs of your mind rather than just talking about your feelings. Perfect for the Yuletide season.
If you've always suspected that a pirate's life was, in fact, for you, then booting up Sea of Thieves should be one of the very first things you do with your new console. And once you're out on the open water in this acclaimed online adventure, the world really is your oyster. You can band together with a bunch of other local sea dogs and lay siege to the nearest ship, or head off on a solo adventure, making your name as a merchant and battling mythical beasts. Or you could just take up your tankard and go in search of the answer to the question that has haunted pirates for centuries. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Whatever direction you decide to sail in, you're sure to find something new, thanks to the fresh content that's always being added. From Pirates of the Caribbean inspired chapters to major new mechanics like the ability to bury treasure and set off fireworks. Perfect for ringing in the new year.
One of the most exciting aspects of the cloud arrived just this year, with the announcement that some next-gen titles could be streamed onto Xbox One consoles. So whether you've snagged a Series X or S console already, or you're still longing for that special day, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members are never more than a button press away from amazing next-gen titles like The Medium. This third-person horror game has you playing as a psychic named Marianne, only she's not the fun, goofy, throwing stuff around with your brain kind of psychic that Raz was. She's more the commune with the dead and peer beyond the veil of our mortal existence into the hellish spirit realm that lies beyond sort of psychic. It's a whole different vibe. Guiding Marianne through both the physical and spiritual planes, often at the same time, the medium forces you to think in a whole new way, all while doing everything it can to mess with your head.
Another game with a massive sequel on its way to Xbox Game Pass in the future is The Outer Worlds, Obsidian's spacefaring action RPG. Journeying out amongst the stars, you'll encounter a cold-blooded enemy, often pretending to be human while it slowly drains the life from everyone around it, becoming larger and more odious with each new victim it consumes. That's right, in The Outer Worlds, space is full of corporations. In this futuristic world, the ultra-rich have bought up everything under the sun and most of the things orbiting around it, so it's up to you to gear up and go off in search of a way to even things out. Along the way, you'll have to work your way through all kinds of fraught moral dilemmas as you attempt to navigate the ethical complexities of the game's hyper-capitalist dystopia. Failing that, you can just use some space guns to shoot a bunch of guys in the face. Easy.
Although, if shooting a bunch of guys in the face is your first order of business come Christmas morning, then power up the cloud and make your way towards Gears 5. Perhaps the most visceral shooting guys in the face game ever created. The epic 5th installment in Xbox's iconic cover shooter series delivers another round of incredible action set pieces as you blast your way across Arctic tundra and Martian deserts, doing whatever it takes to drive back the Horde. With a stunning 120 FPS frame rate on both next-gen Xbox consoles, even the grungy world of the Gears looks kind of beautiful this time around, to the point that you'll almost feel bad about throwing grenades all over it. Almost. The Gears series remains the high watermark for the whole genre, and you can check out the entire epic saga on Xbox Game Pass.
Whether you're looking to spend the whole day camped out in front of your console, or you're desperate to cram in a quick gaming session before heading off to visit the relatives, the cloud means you can get into the action quicker than ever before. And whatever game you decide to start your Xbox Series X and S journey with, you can guarantee there will be plenty more to come. So ring the bell, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for info on all the biggest releases in 2022. Bye!